Well, good afternoon and welcome all to this Innovators announced event. My name is Mark Cracknell. I am the Head of Connected and Automated Mobility here at Zenzic, and we are absolutely delighted to once again be hosting this Innovators announced event, looking at how we scale up SMEs in the connected and automated mobility space. Now, a year ago, we launched our first cohort. This program we ran a year ago with great success, launching 5 SMEs, giving them access to some world-class testing facilities here in the UK, and they joined our cohort and have been delivering great things ever since. And we're delighted to be back here again, sharing with you today our second round, our second cohort, and introducing you to some of the shortlisted SMEs and scale-up organisations, and sharing with you at the end of the event who our selected innovators are to join us this year on an exciting journey. I wanted to share with you very briefly what the next 2 hours will look like on our agenda. So we are delighted to be welcoming Isabel Passer, Head of CCAV, who will be giving us a keynote speech shortly. We'll be having and hearing from the shortlisted SMEs, just a short overview of their capabilities, their technology, and give you a little flavour of the pitch that they have been battling through in the rounds of assessment to get to where they are today. We have Andre joining us from Arrival for a quick fireside chat in the middle of our agenda, and then, as I said, at the end we will be announcing who our selected innovators are, those who will be going forwards in the programme with us this year. I'm sure many of you know who we are at Zenzic, but just to give you a very quick overview, Zenzic as an organisation, we work between government, industry and academia, and our role is to really bring together the UK as a cohesive ecosystem. Next slide, please. So we can see that Zenzic sits at the heart, working both with industry and with government to bridge the gap between policy and industrialisation to support the work towards a combined and joined up agenda towards the future of connected and automated mobility. So next slide, please. This Zenzic Scale-Up programme, as many of you may well be aware, has been designed to do primarily 3 things. The first is to accelerate product development of CAM technologies and services which are being created and developed here in the UK. Secondly, it's to showcase UK talent towards a global market. And thirdly, it's about driving opportunities for investment and routes to market for our innovators. This programme is about leveraging government funding and government backing to allow access to a unique set of testing capabilities here in the UK. It's a very high-paced, very fast programme, and what we look to do is accelerate what may traditionally have been a 12 to 18 to 24-month development process and pack that into 6 months of high-speed, high-velocity development towards products which are ready to scale and ready to hit market. And we do that through testing with real-world environments. We do that, next slide please. We deliver that through a number of ways, and we deliver that with some corporate partners, and we're really delighted to have Honda and Thales joining us again on our journey this year, supporting the SMEs, working with them, providing some of their insights and some of their knowledge into this programme. And this year we're really excited to announce that we have Vodafone joining us as well on this journey. Plug and Play, as you will know, great SME scale-up organisation that's supporting accelerators and programmes like this all around the world, and we're delighted to be partnering with them once again. But all of this really is made possible through CCAV. So CCAV is the Centre for Connected and Autonomous Vehicles. It's the government department as a joint policy unit between the transport and the business areas. And it's through their funding that we are able to provide access for scale-ups and small organisations, access to some world-class facilities that may not otherwise have access to. Next slide, please. So the way in which this programme is unique, and the way that we really believe that this programme makes a real difference to the ability for SMEs to develop their products, is that we are leveraging the world-class capabilities of CAM Testbed UK. Now, CAM Testbed UK is a collection of 6 world-class test facilities which have been created to help drive forward the capabilities of products and services in this connected and automated mobility space, and it's happening right here in the heart of the UK. Government and industry have invested in 6 facilities between Birmingham and London, which provide a whole range and host of capabilities, from public to private testing, from virtual to physical test capabilities. By bringing those together with government funding, we give access to the SMEs to deliver and develop their products forwards. And so that's all really what I wanted to say for the moment. We're really delighted again that you have joined us. And I'm going to hand over now, it's my pleasure to hand over to Isabel Passer, the head of the Centre for Connected and Autonomous Vehicles, who's going to share a few words with us now. Isabel, over to you.
I'm hoping someone's going to turn on my video. Hi everyone. Sorry for the lack of visuals, which I'm sure someone is working on. There we go. Can you see me now? Because I can't see myself. That's always a little bit daunting. Seamless as ever. Hi everyone. I, as Mark has said, head up the Centre for Connected and Autonomous Vehicles, and despite the name, it's worth saying that we actually have quite a broad role in helping to prepare the UK for the types of innovation that we're seeing in the transport sector across quite a broad range. So we lead the Future of Transport programme, which has looked at the kinds of regulatory reform that we need, and how transport technology can help us achieve our objectives in the UK across the board. And of course, connected and autonomous mobility within that has been a particular focus, both because of the huge opportunities that it offers, and also the complexity and the challenges involved in deploying it. I think it's that then gives us a kind of 3 top-level aims for connected and autonomous mobility, which I'll start calling CAM for the sake of brevity in the UK. So that's bringing it forward in a way that is safe and secure, making sure that we're able to exploit the industrial and economic benefits within the country, and making sure that it happens in a timely way so that the regulatory environment and the commercial development happen in parallel. And I think it's fair to say that it feels like we've reached a transition point with CAM now, with a lot of the early uses here already, with some of the more advanced uses at the point of being ready for commercialization, and having a lot more clarity on what the remaining problems are to achieve that full and kind of widespread deployment, which will enable us to be a lot more targeted towards solving those problems. And I think what struck me over the course of the last week in seeing all of the pitches from the SMEs that we're going to speak to today, hear from today, sorry, is how clear it is that those SMEs, the innovators, the disruptors, that they have a massive role to play in moving us through that transition phase, addressing those final problems and getting the technology out to full deployment so that we can get the benefits from those technologies. So I'd like to say thank you to all of the applicants that we saw on the panel and that we're going to hear from again today. Congratulations to you all. I think the technologies that you're leading are all incredible, and you've done amazingly to get to this finalist position. And of course, particularly congratulations to those who are moving through to the next phase, and I very much look forward to working with you through CCAV. So thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Isabel, and hi everyone. A warm welcome from my side as well. I'm Theodora. I'm part of the ventures team at Plug and Play, where I focus on discovering emerging technologies in the mobility space. And I'm really excited about the innovative CAM solutions that will be showcased today. Over the past few months, we have evaluated over 50 startups and SMEs, UK-based companies. And now it's my pleasure to introduce you to the 10 amazing semi-finalists of this year's CAM Scale-Up program. We will start our series of presentations with Albora, and for that, I would like to invite on stage the company's CEO and co-founder, Anselm Adams. Please, could you turn on your camera and microphone so that we can see you? And before we go on with your presentation, just to mention that following your 5-minute pitch today, we also have the chance to take maybe a couple of questions from the audience. So if you do have any questions, please type them in the Q&A box that you will see at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And at the end of the presentation, we will try our best to address one or two of those. So Anselm, without further ado, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Can everyone see the presentation?
It's perfect.
Okay, so hi everyone. It is a pleasure to be here. Let me say thank you to Zenzic and Plug and Play for organizing this event. As you all know, my name is Anselm Adams, and I'm the CEO of Albora. I founded Albora in 2017, and currently we have 17 full-time employees, including 4 PhDs. Our main headquarters are based in London, but also we have a technical office in Barcelona. Our mission is to deliver high-accuracy geolocation to everyone, everywhere. And to achieve this, we have softwareized geolocation technology to make it available to the mass market. At Albora, we address high-accuracy geolocation problems in different situations, such as an open sky or a challenging environment, like the one shown in this slide. Here we show 3 different situations where the position error can be anywhere between 3 meters to 500 meters, or the object is not found at all. We solve all 3 cases, as we will show in the next slides. The traditional approach to high-accuracy GNSS is hardware-based, with localized coverage, focus on niche applications, and the GNSS equipment tends to be very expensive. This approach, of course, is ill-suited for the mass market. Albora is disrupting the industry with a paradigm shift. We are software-based. Our service is ubiquitous thanks to our cloud-based platform. It is hardware-agnostic, plug-and-play, and user-friendly, therefore ideal for the mass market. And it comes as an affordable software-as-a-service subscription model. High-accuracy geolocation to everyone, everywhere. And this slide shows the difference of using our cloud service where all our assets are geolocated with high accuracy in all cases. So how does our product work? We use a proven technology known as RTK. However, our product, among other things, consists of reference stations deployed in the area of testing, reference stations calibrated millimetrically using the GNSS satellite signals. This allows us to know the error obtained from the satellite signals. These reference stations then send to our platform the satellite measurements and error to be used as reference points to triangulate with different assets that need high accuracy geolocation. We then distribute the corrections from our cloud to the assets using the information from the nearest reference station. That's up to about 20 kilometers of radius. In this case, we will send the corrections to Spot 1, our off-the-shelf hardware built for testing purposes. And since it is an RTK-enabled device, it will apply the corrections in its position. In addition, our system can interoperate in real time with other third-party software solutions such as fleet management or CRMs by sharing our geolocation data, including historic data. We use standards in all our entire system to guarantee interoperability with any third-party hardware or software. The benefits for the end users are centimeter level accuracy real-time data, hardware agnostic solution, a robust and redundant and reliable service, plug and play interoperability, highly scalable service able to support millions of concurrent users. And thanks to being cloud-based, we are everywhere that there is an internet connectivity. Here you can see evidence of our accuracy of centimeter level tracking of a vehicle in Paddington's train station in London. The dots represent positions of an outdoors test drive. This is a trial combining a test drive, including driving inside an indoor parking of a mall using sensor fusion combined with dead reckoning with GNSS data. As we leave the parking, we reconnect immediately with the satellites to continue tracking with high accuracy. So if we finally have the Zenzic stamp of approval, we expect to achieve a commercial stage sooner because of the boost we will have on validating our technology. We also expect to engage with other partners and potential customers earlier. Moreover, we foresee the creation of between 5 to 7 new jobs by the end of next year in our London office. And therefore, we can accelerate our time to market for our products. And we believe that we have the right team with the appropriate experience to make it happen. This doesn't happen on its own. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Anselm. Of course, if you'd like to hear more about Albora's geolocation technologies, there will be a poll popping up on your screen shortly. So please answer yes if you'd like to be connected with Anselm and the team later on, and we will do our best to connect you following the event. And in the meantime, I can see we have quite a few questions in the Q&A box. So first question was, what is Albora's current key market segment? What market segment do you focus on?
Okay, so our main two markets are one, IoT wearables, through a partnership we have done with one of the largest electronics companies in the world. If I say the name, you will recognize it immediately. But unfortunately, we are under NDA, so I cannot mention it. But basically what they've done is they have a low cost, low battery, low energy GNSS receiver that it will connect to our service, and it will be, and we will be able to provide them with high accuracy geolocation, being low cost and low energy. So for IoT wearables purposes, that's one of the projects that we're focusing on, and it's a huge, as you can imagine, huge project. The other project that we're working with several micro-mobility startups, actually, especially in the sharing e-bikes or scooters. All these guys, they need very high accuracy for fleet management, for geofencing, to make sure that, for example, the parking areas that the cities allow them, they can park exactly where they were allowed to park. So you need geofence, very accurate geofencing for that. And one of the things they also want to do, they want to track bad behavior, so people driving on sidewalks or pedestrian areas, or they want to track also people like speeding. So there are lots of things that we can help it. And actually, we have two big projects with two of the largest micro-mobility providers in Europe, and the two of them are very, very active in the UK. So we're going to be very happy to help them in expand in the UK.
Perfect. And then maybe related to that, there was one more question. Are you planning on growing your team in the near future? Yes,
definitely. It's all about money. You give me the money, we'll get the people. Actually, one of the things that we need to do is, I think this program will help us test a lot of the things that we were not able to test on a daily basis, and you guys already have the testbed to do it. That saves us a lot of time. We'll get a few more technical people, but especially we need people on the business analysis, commercialization side, and that's where we want to grow in our London office.
Perfect. Thank you very much. There are a few other questions in the Q&A box. Perhaps you can answer them by typing the answer later on. And now I would like to move on and to invite on the stage, on the virtual stage, our next company. Thank you very much, Anselm.
Okay, I stop video.
Thank you so much. So right now I would like to invite on stage Salvatore Minetti. He's the CEO of Automate, the insurtech startup delivering zero accident mobility. Once again, we will have a couple of minutes for questions at the end of the presentation. So please feel free to type your questions in the Q&A box. And now, Salvatore, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. I am Salvatore Minetti. I am the CEO of a one-year-old business called Automate, an early stage startup, insurtech startup that is looking to deliver zero accident mobility. We believe everyone should benefit from the latest in-car safety technologies, regardless of vehicle age and type. That is why we are building a ground-up reimagining of how to keep drivers safe and vehicles undamaged. Our mission includes reducing the risk of an accident by 80%, the cost of insurance claims by 25%, reduce premiums by 20%, and critically, to reduce the number of fatal accidents by 10%. Our team benefits from breadth and depth with seasoned entrepreneurs, AI specialists, academics, scientists, and engineers, all striving to create real value for our customers. A new addition from this week is a dedicated test engineer who joins the team to help us maximize our relationship with our testbed partners. As part of our R&D journey, we are excited to partner with Nottingham University in a 2-year R&D program covering both AI and human factors. In addition, we also have an ongoing relationship with Middlesex University for AI-focused R&D and a planned collaboration with Ghent University with regards to an open connectivity framework project. Last but not least, we hope to be able to engage with Zenzic plug-and-play ecosystem as part of this program and beyond. Automate's Adam is a next-generation ADAS and collision management solution. Powered by breakthrough AI and the latest in advanced sensors, Adam is wrapped in a sleek and easy-to-install device. Adam is the first retrofit solution to feature networking of devices, predictive driver safety alerts, and if the worst happens, live collision reporting via our unique collision reconstruction module. We are at TRL level 7. The prototype is complete and currently undergoing in-car testing, and will be ready for external testing by month end. Why this program is right for us? We would benefit from access to collaboration with industry, government, and academia to shape our product and truly promote zero accident mobility. Access to Zenzic corporate coaching to shape and refine our vision. Increased publicity and exposure with added credibility from being part of a recognized government program. Accelerated delivery to market of a more innovative, valuable product. Access to a wider Zenzic plug-and-play ecosystems where we could attract more investment and improve the value of Automate as a business. And we are confident that this program will help us with access to accurate ground truth data, with independent performance benchmarking, with fault analysis, and lastly, allow us to undertake repeated scenario analysis. Thank you for your time and the opportunity, and we look forward to working with you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your presentation, Salvatore. Once again, we will have a box popping up, so please select yes if you would like to meet with Salvatore and the team later on, and we will make sure to connect you. And now let's have a quick look at the Q&A box as well. I can see we have a question. So what type of commercial partners are you looking to work with?
Initially, insurance companies. We are having several interesting ongoing conversations with some very sizable insurance companies. They are helping us shape the broader route to market, but also better understanding what is the key data for things like the collision reconstruction model. So insurance companies, fleet companies, but automotive companies in general would also be of value to us.
Mm-hmm. And And also one question from the Q&A box, how will Adam deliver an 80% reduction in accidents? Can you elaborate on that perhaps?
Yes, well, it's actually quite a complicated algorithm or mathematical equation, which I won't get into now, and I can share that if I need to. What we have done, we've benchmarked against all the existing providers in the marketplace. We've looked at what they've built. We've looked at what they have claimed and what they can support in terms of performance. We've looked at our technology stack. We've looked at our value proposition. And based on that matrix, we're confident that that number is right. However, what we haven't done yet, we haven't tested in a live environment, which is where we're at now with Zenzic. So after this next program, hopefully those numbers will have a bit more real life evidence.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And then one more question, if I may. How are drivers receiving alerts?
We are at the prototype stage, as I said. At the moment, it's a combination of bleeps and lights. So the existing prototype, which is 001, is bleeps and lights. We are envisaging the potential for a conversational agent so that it stops becoming a machine that bleeps and becomes an in-car companion that talks to you, but that's 2 or 3 years down the line.
Understood. Perfect. Thank you so much, Salvatore. It's now to move on to our next presenter. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You to Dragos Stanciu, the CEO of Grayscale AI, a company using neuromorphic computing and AI to power autonomous robots. Dragos, thank you very much for joining us, and I can see you're already ready to share your presentation.
Yeah, I just had to unmute myself. Thank you for the intro. Great. So hi again. I'm Dragos, founder of Grayscale AI. And since the retro future days of the 80s, humans have had an inspiring vision for self-driving cars. And if you think about it, such cars would have already had advanced driver assistance software, in-cabin driver monitoring systems, and full autonomous driving capabilities. But one of the biggest challenges to such a reality is the fact that robots simply can't see well enough. So to solve this, simply put, we want to give eyes to autonomous robots. We are building onboard neuromorphic vision solutions that react to new situations with human-like precision and understanding. Our core technology is neuromorphic computing. To put that simply, it is doing things more like how the brain does computation. This allows us to collect and monitor data at microsecond latency in real time. It allows us to dramatically reduce cloud computing services and enables faster decision-making at the edge, closer to where the data is collected from the sensors. We are starting with advanced driver assistance system use cases, such as detecting vulnerable users, such as pedestrians and cyclists. And on this slide, you can see the typical output from such a neuromorphic vision camera. Essentially, you are only detecting the most interesting regions in the environment, the edges, and you are disregarding the redundant information. We are an early stage company. The team is growing. You can see that we have a dedicated team of experts in computing, marketing, and sales. And the Zenzic program will help us in a number of ways. Firstly, we would like to be the first company in the UK to test neuromorphic vision sensors on UK testbeds. We would, of course, like to validate our technology in real-world controlled scenarios. We are looking to develop new partnerships with automotive corporates, and we see this program as a stepping stone to develop the UK as a powerful center of neuromorphic computing worldwide. Thank you for listening. Here are my details. You can also click the box. Cheers.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Dragos. And now, if you'd like to meet Dragos or learn more about the neuromorphic vision solutions, please answer the following question with yes. And now let's have a look at the Q&A box. Can you give us maybe an example of where neuromorphic vision is more suitable compared to traditional computer vision technologies?
Yeah, sure. So wherever you can think of a use case where you need to detect anything at microsecond latency, it could be applicable. So that's why we're looking at ADAS use cases, people jumping in front of cars, cyclists, where you can't really use traditional vision methodologies because you simply do not have enough time to do your inference.
Okay, perhaps we still have some time for a couple more questions. Next question is, can you extract 3D information?
Yeah, you can. We actually have a prototype where we are doing sensor fusion between a neuromorphic camera and a conventional camera. And you are able with that to build a 3D map of the environment. So yes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. And maybe a final question. How could a proof of concept with a corporate partner look like?
Yeah, so we would like to talk with such a corporate partner and see what particular scenarios they have issues with, such as detecting cyclists or emergency braking use cases. And basically, we would come in with our technology, deploy it on a car, and show the value proposition and show how we are better than anything that's on the market at the moment.
Great. Thank you very much, Dragos, for your presentation and for the discussion. And now I'd like to move on to our next presenter. So before we actually take a short break from the pitches and move to our next agenda item, we have Peter, co-founder and chief revenue officer at Human with us. Peter, we would like to hear more about your company. I believe you're still on mute. Perfect now.
Yeah, thank you. So hi, Peter, CEO of Human. We are the first underwriter in the London market that has enabled dynamic risk-based pricing for insurance. What that means is that for a commercial fleet, they can earn a discount on their premium within the policy year. We do this by integrating and consolidating a variety of different things that normally would sit in different silos. What that is a combination of risk management plus the claims and insurance pricing in a single platform. This is obviously only possible if you have a platform that can consolidate and integrate data on a real-time basis. And it's a telematics agnostic platform that is live in the market at the moment for commercial fleets. The opportunity for us with autonomous vehicles is really based on that same platform and the elements that we put into our real-time pricing. The first of which is the pricing of the road itself. The risk per million trips on a given stretch of road is determined by what is on that road. What's the traffic furniture? What is the nature of the commercial premises along it? On top of that, we look at the driver risk. So at the moment, that would be a human behind the wheel. How do they act in these different scenarios? The number of times that they've stopped, how many in those 1,000 times that they've stopped has it been a harsh braking event? And then where was that harsh braking event? Was it a hazardous junction or was it a standard junction? Then we have environmental risk that it makes all of this very dynamic. So this is traffic, this is weather, we can even include pedestrian density in this. Now, we put all this together to create a price. And that price is predictive as well as historic, and ultimately is what drives the dynamic element of the insurance price. The risk incurred is what is being paid for, or the risk that is predicted to be incurred is the price that's going to be charged. So We built this entire platform on the idea that you have to be able to collect data from a variety of sources, own that data, and then deliver insights and create value from those insights. And so that's the platform that we've built. We have a data science team that is generating these insights from the data that we ourselves are collecting from a variety of different telematic sources, as well as third-party data sources. This integration and this data science at the core of our innovation engine means that when we look towards autonomous vehicles, we look to what can we do and what are the flags that we need to plant in the distance so that we can ensure that all of our innovations and our direction are achieving a goal that is useful now for vehicles with drivers, but in the future for autonomous vehicles. And that's where we came to Zenzic. If you think about what we have at the moment, we have the data acquisition infrastructure. We have an insurance model. We have, we're an MGA in the UK. We have delegated authority from capacity providers and are expanding that capacity to serve Europe as well. As we talked about before, we have a spatial risk model that creates the roadside. And though there are cyber risk models that we have for our own footprint, that's something that also needs to be included. And then the AV events ultimately are the thing that we are looking to learn. Now, how do we look at this? Ultimately, we see autonomous vehicles being priced based upon a use. And so that use is going to be charged for the where and the where. So the where on the vehicle, and then where that's going to be deployed. Because autonomous vehicles are not as plastic as human drivers, you really need to understand the technology stack and the risk of that deployment in a given environment. And that's really ultimately where we believe we can play. Giving a real-time evaluation, giving a dynamic evaluation of the route that's going to be taken by the vehicle, and price that deployment. Ultimately, it's the certainty as to how that or the prediction as to how that journey is going to work and how the vehicle is going to react that allows you to price. Now, AV risk obviously has a variety of different components, but the element that we're very interested in is the point of incident. So what is the autonomous vehicle doing in an urban environment? And the way to generate the insights that allow you to then develop a new pricing model is what we would like to do with Zenzic. Now, we have two ways of going about this. We can deploy thousands of autonomous vehicles around London and see how it goes. But obviously, that's not the solution. The solution is to build virtual environments. And we've started to do this already. Now, how do you overcome the lack of the rare incidents? Now, there are test beds that have deployed autonomous vehicles in controlled scenarios to do, let's just say, high kinetic events. But ultimately, it's the urban environment. It's the true relationship between the AV and the entropy of driving through an urban environment that you need to discover. And so what we intend to do is work with Zenzic, work with the test labs to build a better virtual environment, test our data from both our own data as well as our partners' data, and then deploy those models with support in the London labs to see the observed reaction and test the robustness of those models. Ultimately, doing all of this in partnerships with our own underwriting team as well as actuaries so that we have real insurance product outcomes. Because ultimately, that's what enables these vehicles to be deployed in an urban area. Whether that's highway or urban, it still ends up with the same insurance. So it's data science that's going to drive it, and we look forward to working with Zenzic and the test labs to see real insurance outcomes that allow these vehicles to travel the roads. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Peter. If you'd like to learn more about humans risk management, data, and insurance product, of course, please vote yes on the poll, which you should see right now on the screen. And now let's have a look at the Q&A box. We have quite a number of questions. Perhaps we pick one or two of them, and the others you'll be able maybe to type the answers to later on. So okay. First, please, are you already live and selling insurance through the platform? And if so, can you give us an idea of premiums?
So yes, we are live. We have customers, we have vehicles traveling around with our insurance using a variety of different telematics devices. The premium depends upon the traditional underwriting factors. So in London, if you are a taxi, you can expect to pay between £1,500 and £2,000 per year per vehicle.
Okay. There's one more question. Why was Shell interested to work with an insurtech company such as Human?
It's a very good question. Shell has 8 million customers who use fuel cards. Shell are forward-thinking enough to realize they're not going to sell fuel to those customers in the not too distant future, and so they want to transform those customers into multi-product customers. Human was the selected insurance partner. They're already deploying telematics, and we are going to follow behind and provide value-added services to those telematics deployments and provide them insurance. So ultimately, our goal is to work with capacity providers who can enable us to go out and serve all 8 million of those Shell customers around the world.
Great, thank you very much, Peter. Perhaps you can answer the other questions via the Q&A box. So thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you can see the box and
yes, I can.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
And now I think we need to take a short break from the pitches, and coming up next on our agenda, we have a fireside chat with Arrival. And for this, I would like to invite on stage my colleague Kieran at Plug and Play UK, who will be discussing with Andrei.
Thanks so much, Theo. So good afternoon, all. My name is Kieran. I lead Plug and Play UK. So what's up next? We have a 15-minute, pretty quick fireside chat. And it's my pleasure to welcome to the virtual stage Andrei Shevamenstev from Arrival. So Andrei, please do show your face. Brilliant.
Hey guys.
Welcome, Andrei. So just before we kick off, just a very quick introduction to Andrei. So Andrei is the strategic partnerships lead at Arrival. Before that, he was vice president of strategic partnerships with Wayray. And for Arrival, he manages complex projects and coordinates internal and external teams. So I'm really excited to have you with us today, Andrei. We've got 15 minutes, so we don't have too long. So I think we can probably kick things off. I mean, please, first of all, tell us, maybe not everyone on the call has heard of Arrival, but please do tell us a bit more about your role at Arrival and Arrival as a company.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Kieran, for having me today. Arrival is a unicorn company making electric vehicles in the UK. I think it was the biggest technical IPO in the UK's history. It just been happening during the lockdown. And 2 years ago when I joined, the company was only 600 people. Now it's 2,500 people. So we have experienced significant growth during these 2 years, most of this time actually been happening throughout the lockdown. So we haven't seen a lot of people joining Arrival in the office. I mean, we were all remote in different parts of the UK and worldwide. I mean, when I joined, the company was completely different. It was still a startup, and I was the first person we didn't have sales, we didn't have business development, we didn't have like all of this important functions. We've been doing R&D for almost 5 years before that, developing components, parts, electric motors, batteries, high voltage electronics and low voltage electronics. So a lot of R&D been going on for this past 5 years. When I joined and we started to work with Hyundai, Hyundai and Kia, one of our first investors. They brought $100 million into the company. And then was a contract with UPS for 10,000 vehicles and the minor investment. Then we have received investments from BlackRock, and the IPO via SPAC has followed. So it was like the very transformational period, I would say. Yeah, and company has changed dramatically. And when I was joining, the titles didn't matter. So I was doing partly sales, partly strategic partnerships, developing this first lead generation on the website, connecting CRM, all this stuff. Now we have like normal sales departments. We have a lot of automation happening, and my role is basically coordinating complex projects internally and working with external partners. I was working on the Microsoft partnership, which we have announced recently. Also UPS, I was leading this project for 1.5 years. Now my role is mostly to keep coordinating the teams. I'm working directly with CEO to help make the transparent management system, and also sometimes I'm pushing the projects to execution, like when it's really needs attention. So that's it. That's about me.
I think it's got to be fascinating joining a company that's grown from 600 to 2,500 in less than 2 years.
Yeah,
which is
I
incredible.
hardly recognize it.
Maybe for those who don't know Arrival as well, I mean, what is the key product that has been driving such growth? What is that?
We are focusing on commercial vehicles and the buses. So our first product, which is going to be on the street, is going to be a 12-meter electric bus. The second significant product is commercial van, which we designed and built together with UPS as our main customer and our partner. And the third project is a car. So we have bus, van, and car. Car is developed together with Uber. So they are participating as a partner in defining what vehicle should be and how it look like for the ride-hailing application. That's the significant advantage of Arrival business model. We don't build gigafactories like Tesla or any other big OEM. We focus on building microfactories, and because we are vertically integrated company, we developed those components, and we designed and developed our process of making composite body panels. We use a lot of extruded aluminum and casted aluminum to create the chassis. So a lot of these in-house proprietary technologies actually have one common goal: to make production smaller so it can fit into the warehouse, automate it, and shorten the cycle of development. Because that's the common knowledge that for typical OEM, development cycle is about 4 to 5 years to release the new model. In Arrival, we're trying to minimize this cycle time down to 6 months, thanks to the modern technologies, computer aid design and simulations, especially like the stack of technologies that we are developing in-house.
It was interesting that you focused on the first two products, which are very much B2B almost, working for other businesses, and you're bringing in with Uber your first, I guess, B2C product.
It's
which will be
B2B2C, I think, because we at the same time, if you look at the Uber vehicle, currently the majority of the vehicles are being used, for example, Toyota Prius. It's a normal passenger car, which been popular for the Uber drivers because it's economically viable. It's not expensive, and it's also somehow probably good for the passengers. Maybe not that good. But if you look for the needs of the ride-hailing companies, they need to maximize their total cost of ownership first. Then they need practical car, which can be cleaned easily, which can be maintained and have like a almost minimalistic design, and also provide the same level of comfort which Black Cab can provide. And all of this under like the certain price level, which can benefit their business.
Yeah. And we actually have a quick question from Ken in the Q&A, which is just before you mentioned the idea of creating, streamlined manufacturing processes through sort of the microfactory areas. I mean, in terms of you guys positioning these microfactories, is there particular geographies that work better than others?
That's the idea, actually, that you can set up microfactory almost in any geographical location. What we are working on setting up supply chain and supply chain network, which can complement these locations of microfactories. So our first two are being built in the UK and in the US. So we have one factory in Charlotte and one factory, Charlotte, North Carolina, and one factory here in the UK in Bicester. And we have also our R&D factory in Bunbury as well.
Really? And do you guys, often, traditional OEMs would leverage partnerships to build a majority of the parts as well. Is Arrival very much full stack? You do, you build each component yourselves, or do you also partner with those let's call them tier one,
we
tier two?
We work with suppliers as well. I think it's almost impossible, but we try to keep the key components developed in-house, especially like the ones that have microprocessor inside, electronics. Because if you look at the key tier ones, for example, Bosch, Continental, or ZF, just for to keep in mind, they also used to work with the big OEMs, and they have the same development cycle, and they are not that interested in startups, because startups are unstable. They cannot provide like significant revenue, especially on the early stage. And it's just for them, like as a big corporations, it's a lot of pain to work with startups as well. And for the startup, it's almost impossible to bring innovative product when you take the same components which big guys take, and you try to develop a car which is somehow better and cheaper. It's almost impossible. I mean, you always being limited by the same parts that everyone else is using.
Sure, there are some of the SMEs and startups on the call who are sure they can add value. Very, very interesting. And just, can you give us a quick idea of the sort of the time it takes to assemble one of the buses, for instance, that you're sat in right now, it seems?
Yeah, so one bus, one microfactory, again, depends on the size, can produce up to 1,500 buses a year on the annual basis. So it gives you like about a little bit less than 5 buses a day. And for the vans, one microfactory is able to produce 10,000 vehicles.
Wow, perfect. Now, okay, we've got around 5 minutes left, so we've got a number of other topics to get around. Maybe changing tack slightly now. We've talked about, the buses, we've talked about the commercial vans, the sort of for customer cars. This session today is all about connected and autonomous mobility. Now, what is Arrival doing in terms of pivoting into this space? It'd be really interesting to hear, is this on the roadmap, for instance?
It is, yeah. So that's another advantage of Arrival, because we are developing all these technologies in-house. We're also trying to build ecosystem instead of like closing it only to Arrival. We invite startups and other companies to participate in it. So right now, I think it's on the website already. Companies can provide their proposal or their kind of idea of collaboration. We can provide access to the API for the vehicles. So we're trying to, this is actually the Microsoft co-development, which I mentioned. The goal of this partnership is to develop data standard for the data collection from the vehicle, which can be exhaustive. I mean, it can be explaining all data which is being collected from all multiple sensors that we have in the vehicle, from tires, for example, rain sensor, some internal information about the parts, etc. And also, second part is the secure access for the multiple tenants to this data. For example, if you have an insurance company and you have the vehicle manufacturer and you have a vehicle owner and the driver, all of them might have access to the data, just different levels of data. And today, this problem is not addressed properly in the world. I mean, you might not know, but your vehicle collects the data today, and the vehicle manufacturer owns the data and sells it to third-party companies. So that's happening right now. I mean, this is just wild. And what we're trying to address as a company is to provide robust API and provide like transparency and secure access to this data, and also provide monetization options. As a result, I mean, when you have this data and you have multiple implementations which you can use the vehicles for, like for example, one of the startups mentioned here, we have all the ADAS sensors. So we have multiple cameras in the vehicle. We have internal computational system. So why not use some of this data to generate some useful information for the map collection or other purposes?
I think that API into the data is of incredible importance, and I'm sure that would be very interesting to both startup scale-ups and maybe some of the corporates listening on the call, especially. What about, we've talked about the connected bit, which is, you know, the data and taking that data and structuring it and then building APIs. What about the ADAS elements? Like, are you guys trying to build technology ultimately to, you know, advanced driver assistance types of technologies?
Yeah. As you might know, we have a sister company called Alboras. It's a competition of autonomously driven race cars on the racetrack. So we have this company, and on a regular basis, we have a competition between human and AI. So world champion of Formula E, Lucas Di Grassi, actually competes with with artificial intelligence. So we had more actually of these races, and our algorithms, they provide like a very good results on the racetrack. They actually learn from the best. And using this knowledge, we're also able to create ADAS and autonomous driving systems for the rival vehicles. Our concept is that it's not that expensive to put the sensors, and software is basically enables all the intelligence that you need to bring into the vehicle. And saying so, actually, we've been participating in the Innovate UK program for making autonomous depot. There was a lot of partners, actually. UPS was amongst one of them. We built this autonomous driving van, which is parking inside the UPS depot. So it's been running completely on sensors without driver involvement. And thanks Innovate UK for this opportunity. And I think that was awesome, and also showcased the technology.
Yeah, awesome. And I believe CCAV was involved in that project to some degree. So I guess thanks to CCAV also. Excellent. Now we've got a few minutes left. So if anyone on the line has any more questions for Andre, please do ask in the Q&A. Another question from me, Andre, is we've got lots of startups here. How do startups collaborate with Arrival? What's the process to do so? Is Arrival open to partnering with emerging technology companies who might be able to add something to the company?
To some extent, yes. I mean, we're always looking for the new technologies, especially in the material science, robotics. I mean, sometimes it's very basic stuff. So, like, how do you connect components together? Like the most efficient way to connect the components during the assembly, or we also work like how to automate the assembly process using the robots on the microfactory. So down from basically the materials level to the computer vision and automation, we consider all kind of startup collaborations and technologies. Battery chemistry, for example, another interesting topic. I mean, it's more on the chemical side, the battery side, but we're also looking forward to the new technologies of the thermoregulation, batteries, like how to optimize those.
Very good. There's a question in relation to this, which is from an anonymous person, but are you guys doing anything in the space of charging? I suppose this is EV charging, and I think you touched upon that there.
We do, yeah. We because we work with the corporate partners, I mean, as our main customers, we working on this charging hubs rather than like personal chargers. and we're trying to optimize the charging time for the fleets of the vehicles, not individual vehicles. It's in the early stage, so it's not product yet.
Absolutely. And then maybe the final question, Andre, before we hand back over to Theodora, you hopefully can get your glass ball out. But when do you feel we'll see level 5 autonomous vehicles in general use? Will Arrival be a first user here, a first mover? Sorry.
I'm not sure actually that Arrival is going to be the first one to bring level 5 autonomy. Well, we do not aim for this because it's we would try to innovate, and I think it's been publicly said already. We try to automate the most important parts, such as like in-depot automation, where drivers still need, in the UPS example, drivers still might need to drive the vehicle and deliver the parcels. But when they're coming back to the depot, they can just leave the vehicle, and the vehicle will park itself, unload the parcels collected throughout the day itself, go to the maintenance, it will go to the washing machine, for example, put on charger, and then next morning it will be ready to go for the next drive. So we're trying to save time for the people in this like a very controlled environment where we can automate as much as possible and bring these innovations earlier, rather than like wait for the full autonomy and wait for the government regulations to bring level 5.
Brilliant. Thanks, Andre, for the answer to that. So we're pretty much at time. That was just over 15 minutes, which we've flown through. I love your background, by the way. It's very interactive. Thank you so much for your time, Andre. A real pleasure to have you on this sort of fireside. If anyone would like to connect with Andre, please do look him up on LinkedIn. He's very receptive on there. And with that, Andre, thank you so much. You can turn your camera off and put yourself on mute.
Bye.
Thanks so much. And Theodora, I'll pass back over to you because we're about to jump back into our startup pitches.
Great. Thank you very much, Kieran and Andre. That's right. We now have 5 more great presentations to listen to before we get to reveal the names of the successful SMEs and startups who will be part of this year's program. And we start off with Daniel, who is the CEO and co-founder of LGN, an Edge AI software management company. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us. The floor is yours.
Great, thanks. Good to be here. I'll just share my screen. Cool. Thumbs up, I guess, if you can see that. That's fine.
Yes, that's perfect.
Yeah. So hello, everyone. We're an Edge AI company that's been designed to help companies seamlessly deploy models to the edge at scale, to monitor them and to pull back parts of that model that are causing confusion in order to kind of continuously improve it. I always find it's probably worth just grounding in what we mean by Edge AI, and so obviously artificial intelligence is taking a bunch of inputs and making kind of decisions without predefined instructions, and edge computing is, you know, obviously prevalent in this industry where devices are everywhere, from kind of connected cameras around cities to vehicles themselves. Here's some examples of kind of some non and some relevant to this industry, but you know, AI is everywhere from your mobile phone to the farm to better controlling traffic within our cities. The benefit of doing AI at the edge is that you can save a lot of money and you can drive revenues by developing kind of smarter and more customer satisfactory products. And ultimately, companies that are faster to adopt various levels of this technology are going to be able to accelerate past their competitors. The challenge, of course, and I'm super pleased to hear that there's been a few other companies mention this today, is that you start to generate an obscene amount of data. In fact, there was one presentation that mentioned 8 petabytes of data a day. And that's, by the way, still at a non kind of enterprise full rollout, everyone in the world using it level. And the more data you collect, the harder it is to find anomalies and confusion. And ultimately, you get to a point where it's those parts of the real world that causes confusion that really holds us back from delivering great systems. And frankly, that happens because AI is not like normal software. It can get confused and it can be unpredictable, and it needs kind of a constant stream of, as the world and the environment changes, it needs a constant kind of update of those changes and new edge cases, if you like. And so when your AI kind of runs into these things, it can fail. And really what you need to do is have a system that monitors and continuously kind of looks at the world, works out what's different, and pulls that back. Now, when you do that at scale, you achieve what we've called, or maybe others have said before, accelerated parallel learning. And that's this idea that when you start to look out for edge cases at scale, you can learn and improve your system very, very quickly. And so yeah, there's a whole difference, right, between what happens in a kind of a test bed or a closed environment to what's actually happening in the real world. And this kind of leads me to one of the most exciting things about working with the test beds that we've selected for this program is indeed the real world deployments. We already work with a bunch of industry partners outside of automotive. We work with a lot of agritech companies, as well as some non-automotive mobility companies. And this is really a case of us being able to give even further proof to this industry that accelerates our entry to the industry around you can scale out a model. You can understand how well it's performing in different geos, and for global companies, how well it performs in California versus Edinburgh versus Mumbai can be very, very important. And then identify over very limited bandwidth what information you should be pulling back from the edge to improve the overall model. And frankly, the result there is, instead of transmitting terabytes or gigabytes back from an edge device every day, you can be very selective. The companies that we've worked with to date have saved over 60% of bandwidth bills, which can be over the kind of high six figure a month numbers. And we've also started to save them significant numbers on their cloud compute. When you're pulling back less information and you're focused really on what data improves the model greatest, you can be much more efficient with your costs there. And again, to reiterate, the last and most important bonus on top of those drastic cost savings is the fact that your system starts to accelerate and learn far quicker than what anyone else is able to achieve. There's a couple of extra slides here, again, to kind of reiterate that there's some technical challenges of doing this on low cost hardware whilst kind of making significant financial gains. And that's it from me. I'm happy to take any questions, should there be any.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Daniel. Once again, if you'd like to connect with Daniel, please select yes in the box that you should see shortly on your screen. And now perhaps we have a couple of minutes to answer some questions, Daniel. Someone would like to know if you could give us a few real-world examples of how edge AI is more suitable than other technologies. Of course, you've mentioned it briefly in your presentation. Do you want to add to that, maybe?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm guessing that the other technologies would be things such as maybe drive-by-wire and processing back in the cloud. I think that it's been mentioned, not by myself, but someone else on this call, that you can look at things like latency. You can look at things like connectivity. I think it's all well and good when you're at early phases. You can concentrate very much on, let's see what this is deployed like in this kind of controlled environment with this perfect connectivity, where everyone's staying on top of everything. But that's not the real world, and someone's vehicle may be driving from one side of Europe to another, and it will go through various different elements, like various different connectivity points. And whether that's one country having 8G connections and one country not having any internet connections, you're going to want to be efficient with what you're understanding. And so where that happens, the system needs to be as up to date as possible as it enters those low connection zones, and it needs to be able to continue to operate. So that's one place where I would say Edge AI has some advantages. And then on top of that, of course, everyone has kind of is starting to get crazier and crazier compute in their pockets, and enterprises are starting to see opportunity to leverage edge devices as enough compute rather than pulling everything back and then spending the money on the compute themselves. So again, that's kind of one of the cost benefits that we're bringing to the industry.
Thank you very much. And then the next question is about the industries and use cases that you're focusing on. So do you plan to focus mostly on automotive use cases in the future? Is that your target?
To date, we've been, mainly just because of the customers that have kind of been, I guess, sucking the technology out of us quicker than other industries, that the focus has been on agritech and to date, non-automotive mobility. So things like traffic management systems, ultra low emission zones, etc. I think we see ourselves, the sensor data that we're observing and what the supervision layer is able to distinguish between is agnostic. So that the whole premise is, as a developer tool, it's kind of cloud agnostic, sensor agnostic, model agnostic. So we see ourselves very much as we're often described as like a Cisco for AI, where there's a kind of underlying tooling that allows people to be more efficient with their deployments and their improvements. I think as time goes on, as any company does, focuses can kind of narrow and widen with various bandwidths and various opportunities. So right now it's the case, but in the future we do not see a limit on the systems that we're able to work with.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Daniel,
for
your input. And it's time now to invite Clem Robertson on the stage. He's the CEO and co-founder of Radar Technologies. Clem, it's great to see you again, and happy to have you presenting for the second time at the Zenzic CAM Scale-Up event.
And thank you for having me again. Yes, I was one of the 10 finalists last year. Right, I will share my screen and go from there.
Perfect.
Okay, for some this is a story that has been told many times before, but I will tell it again. My name's Clem Robertson. I'm the CEO and founder of Radar Technologies, and our mission is about making radar smarter, particularly the radar that may well be fitted to your car today or will be fitted to your car tomorrow. In turn, this will allow the acceleration of the technology to allow resilient, safer, sustainable, go anywhere, use anywhere autonomy, whether that's the autonomy of smart mobility or the autonomy of your vehicle. Our journey starts with a story. I was driving between two villages near my home, not very far from where I'm sitting right now, and I nearly ran over a cyclist. That cyclist didn't have any reflectors or lights or things, so it was, in turn, he was actually putting himself in danger. But my car has a collision avoidance radar. It's not very old, my car, but it did not detect that cyclist. And the only reason I knew that cyclist was there that evening was because a car rounded the corner in the distance and silhouetted that cyclist in front of me. And this is one of the key problems with collision avoidance radar and radar on vehicles. It's one of the key reasons why Tesla right now is considering whether to take radar off the vehicle. What if you could make that radar be enhanced to tell you that there's something out there, but also to tell you what it is, where it is, and what it is doing? That is, in essence, the mission of Radar Technologies, to provide enhanced level of safety in both urban and rural environments by enabling radars to identify things. We've created an identification beacon or transponder that can be directly read by automotive radar. In essence, what we've done is recreated the principles of what have been used by air traffic control in the air for many, many years, and trying to bring that principles to the road. Radars are an all-weather sensor and can continue to operate where other sensor technologies may have failed. They're also able to work, radars are also able to work at extended ranges, particularly to do with identification, long beyond the ranges of LiDAR and camera. When you combine that with our radar identification beacon, you're able to provide early warning at the full range of the radar, or in some of our testing we've been doing lately with our latest prototype, beyond the full range of the radar. This provides early warning. This provides an early warning system that can continue in snow, rain, fog, dust. Because these radars are centimeter level ranging with improving angular accuracy, you're able to get positional accuracy better than normal GNSS or GPS today, just by using one radar and a beacon. Because the beacon talks directly with the radar, it's able to give its physical identifier. I am this, I am here. There is no interpretation of the scene from this cooperative asset. And this, in turn, adds an aspect of safety over and above any AI or machine learning system today. It's cyber resilient. It's able to continue to operate when communication systems may have failed or may not be available. It's also cost effective. One beacon added to a bicycle will already make that bicycle more visible today. Then in turn, by adding our software to the car radar, in today's car radar or the radar of the future, will then allow that bicycle to be detected as a bicycle. And then possibly, if it is a bicycle, a shared mobility bicycle, the unique identifier of that bicycle. We're currently at prototypes that are at around TRL 5.6, depending on the application that we're working in. We're currently testing it on drones as part of a future of flight trial for advanced air mobility, where we're drone for assisted landing and navigation. What we like to do is be able to take that technology and go back to our original mission and vision, where we test this on the road as part of the Smart Mobility Living Lab. We've also been, because we were a participant on this Scale-Up program last year, but only a runner-up, we were also been working with Plug and Play on another accelerator program. And from that, we've been able to get corporate engagements that were with the opportunity to pilot in Taiwan and in the US. This is why the CAM Scale-Up program for this year becomes an ideal opportunity, where we wish to be able to take these, be able to test what we've got, show the benefits of this on the road, to then take this forward to showcase internationally the benefits, to then in turn take these, go forward and do these commercial pilots that we're already talking about. It also allows us to provide, to deliver invaluable data as we go towards our TRL 7 MVP. And it comes at the ideal time. We're already collecting stuff in the air. Thank you for your time. Please feel free to ask questions.
Thank you very much, Clem. If you'd like to find out more about imaging radar solutions for autonomous vehicles, of course, click yes, select yes on the poll on the screen. And right now, let's have a look at the Q&A box. So one question was, what has changed in your approach since the last Zenzic CAM Scale-Up program? Of course, you already mentioned that you've been part of one of Plug and Play's accelerators. Can you maybe elaborate on that or add to that?
Yeah, there's multiple things. So when we came to this program last year, we had a TRL 4 demonstrator, proof of concept. What in the last year, we through funding from other Innovate UK projects, we have taken that forward and we have created a much more compelling prototype that's able to work at extended ranges, much further ranges than we had for our proof of concept last year, which has opened up new use cases that we didn't have a year ago. On top of that, we were part of the Plug and Play Mobility Accelerator program. We were one of 5 UK companies to participate in that. And from that, we are now talking with a number of large corporates who see the benefits of our technology and wish to help support us to show the benefits more widely. One of them is supplies 1 in 4 headlamps to vehicles worldwide, and they invited me to present on a Sunnyvale. They're California based, on a Sunnyvale sensor fusion expo only 2 weeks ago. We've also got another partner. Well, that in turn has introduced us to one of the biggest bike manufacturers in the world, who've been working on a thing called B2V, bike to vehicle. It's a US based thing, but it has ISO and SAE in it. That bicycle manufacturer has been looking for something like this for quite some time, and we are now having meetings with them, and only in the last 2 weeks. This program, even if you are only a runner-up, will open doors that weren't open there before, and I really, really do vouch for it. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Perhaps we have time for one more question. Who are you currently selling your technology to? There's one of the first questions that we had in the chat.
We're an early stage startup. There is myself, my CTO, Dr. Steve Clark. We have 2 engineers and 1 technician. We are currently self-funded today, and we're bringing a technology that's currently not available. We have yet to make any sales. One of our biggest hurdles is the fact that we're trying to do something. We're trying to bring a technology through that has to be detected by an automotive grade radar, but not just the one I am running with today, but any automotive grade radar. So tier 1 OEMs have to be brought into this to add this to their radar technology. Yeah, I think that answers most of that.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you very much, Clem. We have a couple more questions in the Q&A box. Perhaps you can type the answers there. Thank you very much. And now it's time to move on to our next company. So I would like to invite on stage the CEO of Root Connect. We have Mohamed bin Ismail. Hi, Mohamed.
Hi, thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you very much for joining us. If everything runs okay on your side, we should be able to see your screen soon. Perfect.
Yeah, fantastic. So that should be working, I take it. Right. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining in. So in essence, we are the Google Analytics of physical spaces, and our vision is to become the leading smart city analytics provider. So we want to make our cities as efficient as they can be without wasting the resources and energy at our disposal. To do that, however, we need to understand how we move across all the different modes of transport in real time, and to ensure that we can take dynamic and proactive actions. So just like Google Analytics is able to anonymously see how people use websites, what pages they visit, and for how long, and what they do on those pages, we do the same for physical spaces. My name is Mo, and I am the CEO of Root Connect. So our roads are currently up to 30% inefficient, and this is causing an excess of 2.2% in global CO2 output. And we can tackle this by working towards Zenzic's 2030 roadmap, and we plan to do that in tiers. We initially tried to run before we could walk by trying to tackle tier 3 and 4 before we'd even had tier 1 and 2 ready. But since our pivot 2 years ago, we focused our research and development efforts to ensure that we have our foundations developed. And that's what we now have with tier 1. We're now looking for support to apply this widely across the UK and ensure that we can generate actionable results from it by moving towards Tier 2 with smart junctions to reduce the inefficiencies in our roads, as I mentioned earlier. So we are the first video analytics company to offer connected multi-camera movement insights without using facial recognition, helping to obtain vital business intelligence with a fully anonymized process. Now, there are other video analytics providers who opt not to use facial recognition, but they process each camera individually, and they only then aggregate the results as heat maps, and that tends to just purely provide counts. It loses a lot of the full customer journey, be it across a road, a junction, a station or a retail store, or even an event venue. What did the customer do? How long did it take them? And so being able to understand the safety implications of that is quite important. And those questions are currently only being answered by pervasive facial recognition solutions. We're commercializing our technology now that we've developed the research behind it, and we've already begun some awesome conversations, as you see here. And some of these conversations, especially in the road sector, are moving forward towards pilots in the coming weeks. So the video analytics market is growing quite rapidly. And if it was on your radar a few years ago, it should really be in front of you now. Just in the past 4 years, it's grown threefold. And so the rapidly growing video analytics market has primarily grown to this extent because of two main reasons. Algorithms are now much better, and we've worked on our own proprietary algorithms on top of those in the past year and a half, and processing equipment has become much cheaper compared to what it was even 1 or 2 years ago. And of course, we have 770 million cameras to make use of. And so what's unique about us is that we can also work with existing camera networks. So we've been able to put a fantastic team together that has developed all these latest advancements. We've got Dan as our CTO, who's works on over 20 research papers in the fields of computer vision and machine learning. And he's also the he's a software engineer at Amazon, and so has brought on his experience in understanding the complexities of developing scalable infrastructure. On my end, I've personally been selected by Insider Media as one of 25 Welsh rising stars. And we've also recently brought on board Nigel as an advisor, who's the ex-COO of Keolis, and prior to that, CEO at Transdev UK, an Ireland, overseeing their £150 million London bus operation, and then its merger with Veolia Transport. We've also recently just raised investment, and we're expanding our team in the coming weeks. And what's nice, again, about our solution is that it's software-based, so it really does scale very nicely. We've been able to develop the core functionality ready in time to work with key players to help us scale this. We have managed to get on board 4 test beds who are keen to work with our technology to help take it to the next level. These include Smart Mobility Living Lab, Midlands Future Mobility, Hariba Myra, and Convex. And this means a lot of data collection followed by system integration and making the insights we generate as a result accessible to others. So I come back to our vision, and the emphasis here is on being able to achieve this together. We're aware that there are competitors who have made some good headway, but we feel that we have a few aces up our sleeves with our innovation, and we're keen to get Zenzic's support to realize them. And this support will help us achieve Tier 2 commercialization within Q2 of 2022, and therefore help us to move more quickly from Tier 1 to Tier 2 with the available testbed capabilities. Thank you very much for listening in, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much, Mo. If you'd like to get in touch with Mo and learn more about how Route Connect plans to become the Google Analytics of physical spaces, please select yes in the poll. And right now we will have a look at the questions. I believe there was a slide you shared on your ideal partners or on the partners that you're currently working with, but could you tell us more about your go-to-market strategy? Who would be your ideal partners in this initial phase when you're looking at perhaps securing POCs and initial projects?
Absolutely. So there are a number of verticals where our technology applies. Some of them are more slow moving than others. And so what we're quite keen to do is get out there as soon as possible, demonstrate it in those markets that are ready to move quickly on them. And one of those has been roads. So getting out there, especially with transport surveyors, where you have short-term projects, is a way for commercializing much sooner. And then that will help us also move towards, with Zenzic support on some of the work with the test beds, also move towards integrating this with local authority infrastructure, particularly with urban traffic management systems, where that does require some system integration. And that's some experience that we're keen to build on with Zenzic.
Perfect. And in terms of corporate partners, are there any specific companies that you would be interested in working with?
Yeah, gosh, I mean, that's a big question. When you say corporate partners, are there any specific areas? Because it really does vary. We've had queries from consultancies. I won't name who they are, but they're big particularly in the consulting sector and in the train operating company sector as well. And so, it's hard to say, to be quite honest. Whoever asked the question, I'd love a bit more clarification on that.
Perfect. Perhaps you can connect offline afterwards and maybe give some more details about your next steps and what lies on your roadmap. So now, thank you very much, Mo, and perhaps it's time for us to move to the next presentation. Thank you, Mo. So the next semi-finalist presenting today is StreetScope, a company that aims to improve vehicle safety. And here with us today, we have Dave Myers, the VP of Partnerships and Opportunity Development. Dave, hi. Yep. Is everything working fine on your end? I guess you just need to switch the view to presentation mode, and then we should be ready to go.
Yep, I will do that. Hang
on. We can still see some notes.
Okay, I will fix that. I don't know why it's not coming up, right? Oh, here we go. I see. There we go. All right. Well, thank you for the opportunity to share some thoughts on StreetScope on behalf of our leadership team, myself, Mark Goodstein, and Eric Antonsen. We're excited about being part of this Zenzic-sponsored program. We believe we have a great product to help the autonomous vehicle industry, and we're excited to work with your program, both Zenzic and Plug and Play, to help connect with key partners and potential investors. So thank you. We are focused on answering this question: how safe is safe enough? And we think this is probably the biggest single question facing the autonomous vehicle industry. And without having a good answer or knowing exactly is your vehicle safe for the road, investment's going to come slow, regulations are going to be tentative, and for sure consumers and rates of adoption are going to be far slower than investors want in this space. And so we believe an objective measure to be able to quantify and assess the safe movement of vehicles on the road is necessary. And we believe our forward-looking quantitative assessment process can be used to improve safety of drivers, streets, and automated operations. A vision of StreetScope is to be the leader and innovator in traffic safety measurement for the transportation industry, and that's what we are trying to do. So what's the big aha? What's unique about what we offer and how we approach it? Typically, the industry is focused on collisions, surviving collisions, an array of data about how vehicles manage energy and so forth to help their passengers survive and do well in the form of any collision. We believe there's a wide array of untapped data prior to collisions that, if used to assess the safety of movement of vehicles, that this degree of near miss calculation that we have developed could be very helpful in providing additional objective measurement of how safe vehicles move, and an array of industries can use that data to make much better assessments and decisions about their business. We can collect and analyze data from two primary methods, whether the camera is fixed or whether the camera is moving. And using two-dimensional camera data and analyzing all of the pairwise interactions between all of the hazards that it sees out in front of the vehicle, we can create a series of tools that industry can use to better assess how to move forward with its vehicle development, with infrastructure planning. And as you can see here with a quick demo, we will assess all of the objects out in the field. We can map that, as you can see in the upper right, over whatever route the vehicles are moving. And we have a histogram of all of the data collected, of all of the hazard that we measure, and that can be used to make evaluations and decisions for the developers or infrastructure, or whatever industry is using the tool. We can also apply to fixed intersection environments, whether you're an infrastructure company wanting to make changes to infrastructure, or you want to plan a autonomous vehicle route through this space. Any of that can be done with our tool, as well as evaluating specific vehicles moving through this space. We can analyze just how safe that is happening objectively. So you know exactly the level of safety you're achieving year 1, year 2, as you compare sensor suites, whatever. You have an objective measure to make those evaluations and decisions. We can also use that data to plot it over the entire route, identify the level of hazard through any aspect of that vehicle route. We can subdivide it into 25-meter sectors, and then further evaluate the high hazard zones along that route. And that allows infrastructure planning companies to prioritize where they spend their money on safety and help alleviate issues before they happen. And we can go into much deeper analysis as well. These are the industry sectors we are focused on: infrastructure, vehicle systems, insurance, and fleet safety. There's 4 that we know are quite relevant. We're going to focus on just the first 2, infrastructure and vehicle systems, to get started, even though our core technology we know is applicable across all the sectors. So as we develop those 2, we know it'll apply when we're ready to go after insurance and fleet safety. We believe we have a very deep team. There's a lot of aerospace experience, quite a bit of our team has worked with Caltech and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, doing hazard assessment and risk mitigation evaluations for deep space missions. And we feel all the lessons learned and experience gained there on deep space missions can be applied to how safely vehicles move through your neighborhood. And in conclusion, these are the 5 things why we think we will be successful and we will be right for this grant opportunity from Zenzic. We're focused on one of the most important issues, safety. The timing is perfect for our level of development. We are ready and excited to work with state-of-the-art test beds to further prove our hazard measure in your wonderful real-world spaces. We have a high credibility with the team that we've assembled. We feel there's mutual commercial benefit between us as a startup launching, as well as creating a desirable new capability that would make the test beds even more attractive to customers in the UK. And we're excited to launch it in the state-of-the-art autonomous vehicle environment in the UK. And in the end, our mission is to become the leading tool by which industry measures traffic safety. So thank you for the opportunity, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Dave. So if you'd like to learn more about traffic safety measurements, transportation industry, please select yes in the poll, and we can connect you to the StreetScope team. Right now we have also a couple of questions from the people online. So is Streetscope's technology live and being used today is the first question that we had in the Q&A.
Yes, we have two large companies centered in the UK that are going to work with us on both vehicle development and excuse me, and infrastructure, Stantec and Ricardo. We also have major insurance companies in Europe and in Japan that we are doing paid programs to develop programs for them. And we've also tested vehicles in New Jersey, LA, Las Vegas, and other using our system that we just shared here.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And what tools could be used by corporate partners? So you've mentioned the companies that and the testing that you've done, and what kind of testing or tools have you used? I guess that's the question.
Well, we've been used by infrastructure companies to evaluate future autonomous vehicle routes so that they can objectively measure during the planning phases where the high hazards are going to be on a planned autonomous vehicle route. And then they can make decisions for their customers as to help avoid future safety issues by making changes during the planning process. And insurance obviously wants to use this to understand the risk of future deployment of AVs on the road, how to objectively quantify risk levels and provide mitigation options to both the insurance for ratings as well as their customers that they look at insuring.
Great. Thank you very much, Dave, for answering our questions and for presenting today. It's time now to move on to our final presentation. So last but not least, I would like to introduce on stage Michael Flanagan, CEO at Extract, a young startup who aims to revolutionize auto claims. Michael, the stage is yours.
Thanks a lot. My name is Michael Flanagan, CEO and founder of Extract, and Extract really set out to unlock the value in connected car data. If you think about it, all vehicles on the road today are connected at some level, but this data hasn't been making its way into the insurance claims function. And the reason being is that the data is hard to interpret. Every provider is different, and their protocols are different. So as I said, we really set out to say, how do we take that data from the connected vehicle and make sense of it and present it into an insurance company or fleet manager? So what we've done is we've built a platform that connects the connected vehicle with the insurance provider. We are like that middleware that can integrate with any provider and with any data source, whether it's directly the device embedded in the vehicle, whether it's a dash camera, or whether it's an OBD dongle or even a smartphone. We integrate with that provider, normalize the data, convert it into a format that our system can ingest, and then feed the insights into the systems of the insurance companies. We've integrated with 5 claim systems, the Guidewires, the Duck Creeks. These are the systems that insurance companies use today. So what we've done is we've taken all the heavy lifting, all the complexity of trying to interpret this information and ingesting it seamlessly into their current workflow. So rather than show you some slides, let me actually show you what our platform looks like and give you an example of kind of the output that we provide to insurance companies, because it's really kind of it's our secret sauce. So AXA was one of the first insurers to come out and underwrite the autonomous vehicle. And this is an example of some work we've done with them in terms of when you've got this rich information coming from the vehicle, what does that actually look like? So I'll just play this instance alone, and you'll see that we know at the very bottom here is your timeline. So this really kind of brings the user through what happened in the event and leading up to the event. And you'll see that we've got 2 passengers in the vehicle because the seat belts are activated. The vehicle pulls over, one of the passengers gets out because the seat belt gets deactivated. And in the top right-hand corner, you're looking at the speed of the vehicle. So this is all real time, being able to show kind of exactly what the vehicle's doing. Now I'll speed it up and I'll just bring it down to kind of the main part of the incident, which is our collision. So our vehicle is approaching here, and as we come up to this point, we get an impact. The red area shows the zone of damage to the vehicle, so it's a rear shunt and left side. And at the bottom here is our force of impact. The number one factor to determine the bodily injuries of occupants is the force of impact. So straight away we know that, is this a bodily injury claim, and we can start proactively managing that claim. Because we know that obviously the GPS, the user's going straight in to see exactly where the collision happened, trying to bring all this data together in place so that they understand exactly, who's at fault, the vehicles that are involved, the values of the vehicle, what are the sensor information in the vehicles, and not only our vehicle, but also the third-party vehicle as well. Next, we look at things like liability. The key question in any incident is who was at fault, and especially for AV fleets, it's critical for them to understand that they weren't at fault and have to prove why they weren't at fault. We have an AI predictor that pulls in all different information around the accident, the road, the circumstances, and it predicts whether this was a fault or a non-fault claim, and it backs up that decision using highway code and case law so that we're confident in the decision. We have a weather integration, which shows the weather at the incident. We can start building out the story through notes. And in the media section is all the photographs captured, any video footage that's on the vehicle that can be pulled in as well, any LiDAR, CCTV, it aggregates all the data from different kind of data sources. Then we get down to your traditional kind of claim information. These are the questions you're going to answer when you're on the phone with your insurance company, where we pre-populate all this information using data from the vehicle, whether damage zones, if there's occupants in the vehicle. These are your traditional kind of claim questions. So let me jump back into a couple of slides just to finish it off. In terms of kind of where we're at in terms of traction, we've signed global license agreements with AXA, where we went live in the US last year. We're now starting with them in Canada and the UK over the next couple of months. We signed a multi-year agreement with Travelers in Europe, and we're also working with an MGA from the US called Paramedics. Our route to get access to data initially was directly through the aftermarket telematics providers. We've integrated with the world's largest providers. Geotab is the world's #1, and we're fully embedded inside their product, which means that their 40,000 customers can get access to Extract in less than 5 minutes. All the functionality that I've showed you just now is available to fleet customers globally. So it's kind of been our real kind of, how do we get access to the data to start with? And as I said, that was through the aftermarket providers. So the left-hand side here is the data we capture today, which is the bare minimum, your accelerometer, your GPS. But the reason why we're working through this program is to get access to much more rich data coming directly from the connected vehicles and from the connected autonomous vehicles. There's a lot more sensors, there's a lot more rich information. You know, we want to be able to prove that we can aggregate all these different data sources and really focus on a use case that is probably going to be the most, monetized use case of the connected vehicle, and that is insurance claims. The vehicle manufacturers need to make sure that if an accident does happen, that they've got the best insights to defend themselves. The insurance companies need to make sure that they're defending their customers, that if it isn't their fault, they have to present insights. And Extract is really that aware that can take the data from the vehicle, turn it into digestible insights, and present it then to an insurance company or fleet manager to process. So we're excited about this program, and if there's any corporates that would like to engage, any large fleet providers, OEMs, or insurance companies, we'd be happy to talk to them. Thanks.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Michael. We're going to wait for the poll box again on the screen. Please select yes if you want to connect with Michael. And now looking at the questions, we have a couple of them. So first of all, how do you currently get access to the data to reconstruct crashes? Is that the challenge that you're facing?
Yes, so the way we do it at the moment is integrating with the aftermarket telematics providers, so the Geotabs and the Lytics of this world. So they put devices in, and that's the devices that are used by companies, your XOs, your DHS, they're all equipped with devices, and we tap into that data through the reconstruction.
Perfect. And then how long does it take to transform the collected data into insights on your platform?
About 20 seconds. So from receiving that data directly from the vehicle to run it through our models, about 20 seconds, the reconstruction is presented.
Great. And maybe one more question. Could you tell us a bit about your team? Because I'm not sure if we heard anything on that side.
Yeah, sure. Well, my background is in telematics. So I actually founded a telematics company before Extract. Our CTO is a PhD in physics from Oxford, and he's built the foundations around all the algorithms that kind of does our analysis. And our head of business development is an experienced executive from ex-IBM that kind of runs sales.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Michael, for joining us and for your presentation. And now the moment we have all been waiting for. So it's finally time to announce the successful startups and SMEs who will be part of this year's CAM Scale-Up program. So for this, I would like to invite all the other panelists to turn off their video, because we would like to invite Mark Cracknell back on the stage. Hi, Mark. I know everyone is really excited about today's announcement, so I don't want to take too much of your time, and I would like to hand it over to you now.
Excellent. Theodora, thanks so much, and I'll try not to drag it out too much in an X Factor style with big pauses and the like, but I have to sort of start by saying, wow, I mean, what a great set of SMEs and technologies that we've just seen. Everything from geolocation and insurtech to camera AI and neuromorphic computing, which is a new thing for me, and every time I get into these spheres, it blows my mind at the depth of skill and capability we have here in the UK, and hardware and safety devices and smart cities, and I think we've really seen a great showcase already today of amazing innovation which is already happening here in the UK. We've been going through over the last few months the process of refining and meeting with lots of SMEs, and I have to say the caliber of pitches and the proposals that has come in has been very high, and for me it just proves what a competitive space connecting automated mobility really is here in the UK. There is so much going on, there is no shortage of things to be done, and in our roadmap to 2030 there are literally hundreds and hundreds of things which we could be doing over the next decade for us to realise the real benefits of CAM right here in the UK. Now, our assessors have had a really difficult job over the last few weeks, listening to the pitches, assessing them and trying to come to a conclusion on which of our innovators we're going to be selecting to going forward with the programme this year. And I just want to say a big thank you to all of those involved in that assessment process for dedicating the time, the effort and all of your great insight and robust challenge into helping us get to the point where we are imminently able to share who has been selected going forwards. So I said I wouldn't drag it out too long. So we are really delighted to announce this year that the selected innovators who are going to receive funding to accelerate their products through to the market are these 6 organisations. So in the chat, I think we said we were going to announce 5. The caliber was so high this year that we are pushing the boundaries, and we are going to fund 6 of our SMEs forwards into the programme. So congratulations to Albora, to Xeros, to Grayscale, to Radar, to Root Connect and to Extract. You have done a phenomenal job, but also a big well done and thank you to all of the others who have pitched in this year. The caliber really was high, and as always, it's a difficult decision to make, and maybe one day we'll have all the money that we need and we can fund more. But congratulations to these 6, and we are really looking forward to working with you over the coming months. So I'm hoping those of you that hung on to the end of this, it was worth the wait to hear this great news. Thank you all for your time this afternoon. We hope you've enjoyed hearing all the pitches from our innovators, all their presentations, and understanding and hearing from us who we are taking forward onto this programme. We would really encourage you to connect with any of the innovators that you've heard today. You've hopefully clicked yes on many of those polls this afternoon. Connect with them. If you want to keep in touch with the programme, you can see the details there on the screen. We will be having a big showcase event at the end of the year in March to showcase everything that we've been doing. The scale-ups and the SMEs have been working with the test beds to deliver. So if you want to come along to that, if you want to keep in touch with the programme, do get in touch with us. As you can see there, subscribe and sign up to the Zenzic newsletter to get all of the latest and greatest news of what's going on in CAM in the UK. So all it really leaves me is just to say thank you once again to all of the participants. Thank you for all of your time and effort into putting together such a high quality set of proposals. And thanks to each and every one of you for dialing in this afternoon. We hope it's been informative, we hope it's been helpful, but above all, we hope this has been a place where you can create connections to new partners here in the CAM ecosystem in the UK. So thank you for your time, and we look forward to telling you more about the great things we're doing as we progress this going forwards. Thank you and enjoy your evenings.
Destruction, and I'm back to a place that I left a long time ago. Just give me a sec while I smoke this cigarette. My aching body feels better still. What do you do when you just pick up my guitar and too much on your plate when I need to escape? Everything will be better when I find a way. When people leave, do they ever think about you? What I'd say if I ever came back again? Well, I still wonder and I miss you. I know I'll ask you when I see you again, my friend. What do you do when you get the blues? Just pick up my guitar and too much on your plate when you need to escape. Everything will be better when I find a way. Oh. What do you do when you get the blues? I pick up a guitar and too much on your plate when you need to escape. Every little thing will be better when I find a way. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Find a baby, I'll find